Hello, so today we are discussing mains question, how does Kant respond to Hume's skepticism with regard to the a priori judgments? This has been asked in 2024. The first essential thing to answer the question is to understand the key words over here in context of what? First, Kant, Hume's skepticism. What is Hume's skepticism and what are these a priori judgments? So as we have discussed in the Western philosophy, the theory has been divided amongst the rationalist school of philosophers who have discussed that everything is in mind and innate. And another one school of philosophers is empiricists who have discussed that whatsoever knowledge we get is via experience. Okay. So, Hume is one of those empiricist philosopher who has divided his theory of knowledge into two parts over here. The first one Hume talks about is the relation of ideas. The second part which Hume talks here is about the matter of facts. So these matter of facts are actually the elements for which the Hume is skeptic. It is the matter of fact for which Hume is skeptic, right? Hume is not skeptic about the relation of ideas. What are relation of ideas? Relation of ideas are certain. For example, it's used in maths. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4, right? This is certain. So Hume is not skeptic about this. Then what is Hume skeptic about? Hume is saying, in context of this, Hume is saying that these matter of facts, for example, the case of causality. Okay, this causality is not a necessary function, rather causality is a habit, or we can say that causality is formed by the custom over here. Okay, or we can say that Hume has said causality as mere generalization over here. For example, मैं example से इसको समझाती हूँ. Suppose there is a ball rolling down the hill. Okay, there is a ball which is rolling down the hill. So Hume is going to say that if I push the ball, it will move. Okay, this ball is going to move down. But this is not based on some rational certainty. Rather, the ball moving down the hill is based on the habit or the custom over here. Okay, another example, Hume says that sun rises in the east. Sun rises in the east. One example is this. Another example is that sun is rising in the east. But Hume is saying just because it has been rising in the east, that does not mean that future inference can be that it will again rise in the east. This we are developing on the base of the cause-effect relationship is not a conjunction, not a necessarily conjunction. Rather, this cause and effect is based on the habit or the custom. So Hume is skeptic about matter of facts. First of all, this has to be noted over here. The first part of the question which I have just discussed here is what Hume is skeptic about. He is skeptic about the matter of facts. We have seen the first part of question. Matter of facts. Okay, I'll repeat it again, where he's talking about causality not being a necessary conjunction. Rather, causality is a psychological necessity. He has said that causality, it is not a necessary conjunction, right? Instead, what is causality? It is a mere psychological necessity which has been based on the custom or the habit. Is it clear? So this kind of thinking Hume is having. क्यों? क्योंकि Hume इसको हिंदी में बोलेंगे संदेहवाद, skeptic, right? Why? क्योंकि Hume एक अनुभववादी या empiricist philosopher हैं. So Hume का experience ये बोलेगा कि जो चीज मुझे सेंस एक्सपीरियंस से ऑब्जर्व होगी, only that I am going to accept. Okay, so this is Hume's skepticism. Now, coming to the next part of the question over here, what is this a priori? Okay, if you see the term, what is this a priori? So again, a priori is something which is before the sense experience. Okay, this is before sense experience. जैसे कि if I give an example here, that apple is a fruit, right? So if this is a subset, if this is apple, okay, this is apple and this is the bigger Venn diagram, if we represent, this is a bigger set, that apple is a fruit. Yes, yes, in fact beyond the sense experience हम इसको समझ सकते हैं कि apple एक fruit है. So such kind of judgments are a priori judgments over here. I hope this is clear. This is before experience or independent of experience. Now, if two of these terms are clear, I will try to explain this, how Kant tries to rectify Hume's skepticism. So Kant has given another word over here, which means synthetic a priori judgment. Now let's see what is synthetic a priori judgment. In order to understand, I will take you backwards to the story of Western philosophy over here, that there had been two schools of philosophers. One was rationalists, okay, and one were the empiricists. So रैशनलिस्ट वो बोलते थे कि सब चीज इनेट हमारे माइंड पे है, एवरीथिंग इज प्रेजेंट फ्रॉम बिफोर, देयर इज नो प्लेस फॉर सेंस एक्सपीरियंस, एवरीथिंग इज innately present in the mind. But empiricists, they are only talking about sense experience, right? So the kind of theory which rationalists have given is analytic a priori. Now let's understand these terms. What is analytic? What is a priori? What is synthetic? And what is a posteriori over here? First term, analytic. Okay. Second term, a priori. The third term over here is synthetic. And the fourth term over here is a posteriori. So अगर मैं analytic की बात करूं, analytic means something which is necessarily true. जैसे अगर मैं बोलूं 3 plus 5, this is equal to 8. Yes, this is innately true, intuitively true. Or if I give an example, all unmarried men are bachelor. All the unmarried men are bachelor. Yes, the information is already present inside. The predicate, if I say the predicate is already present in the subject, this is the meaning of analytic. It means something which is necessarily true. It's like a tautology. मतलब कि सर्कुलर फैलेसी है, 2 + 2 = 4, 2 + 2 कभी 5 नहीं हो सकता है, तो आंसर उसी के अंदर छुपा हुआ है. दैट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ एनालिटिक. ओके, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग इज इनसाइड, the predicate is contained inside the subject. Now coming to what is a priori. I have just discussed this word. It means something which is independent of the experience. Is it clear? जैसे कि I have told you this example. All the guavas are fruits, right? A guava cannot be a cat. A guava cannot be a dog, right? Or if I say cow is an animal, or cow is a bovine animal. So all the cows will be bovine animal. It will come in that kind of category. So again, इसमें मुझे कुछ एक्सपीरियंस नहीं करना पड़ रहा है. This information is already innately present. जैसे all the mangoes are fruit. क्या मैंगो ह्यूमन हो सकता है? नहीं. क्या मैंगो किसी तरह का एनिमल हो सकता है? नहीं. सो मैंगो क्या है? एक फ्रूट है. इज इट क्लियर? सो दिस वाज द काइंड ऑफ एनालिटिक ए प्रायोरी जजमेंट्स जो हमारे रैशनलिस्ट स्कूल ऑफ फिलोसोफर्स ने दिए थे. एंड हु वर दीज थ्री रैशनलिस्ट स्कूल्स ऑफ फिलोसोफर्स? दे वर डेकार्ट्स, द सेकंड वन वाज स्पिनोजा, एंड द थर्ड वन वाज लाइबनीज. इज इट क्लियर? ये बोलते हैं कि जितनी भी चीजें हैं हमारी चेतना में और हमारे कॉन्शियसनेस में प्रेजेंट हैं इनेटली, पहले से. राइट नाउ लेट्स सी द अनदर पार्ट. व्हाट इज सिंथेटिक? ओके, सपोज इफ आई गिव यू अ एग्जांपल दैट bachelors are miserable. So what about the statement, the bachelors are miserable? They can be, they cannot be, right? So there is nothing, any kind of newness we are getting out of it. There is no any kind of new information we are getting out. In fact, the predicate, it does not lie in the subject, unlike that part that all bachelors are, all unmarried men are bachelors, right? So this statement, synthetic statement, may not be necessarily true over here. Okay. Another thing, empiricists, they also say that sun rises in the east. They have even put that statement under the synthetic part. I hope this is clear when the subject is not contained, when the predicate is not contained in the subject, right? And what is a priori? A priori is done. What is a posteriori? It simply means that anything which is dependent on your experience. If I say that apples or the mangoes are sweet, ठीक है, या तो मैं ये कहूं एक गर्म पानी का बकेट रखा है and I touch it and I say अरे ये तो गर्म पानी है, अरे the bucket is hot. So how did I got to know hot? या जहां जहां धुआं निकल रहा है मैं assume करूंगी वहां पे there may be a fire, but that's not a necessarily conjunction. Okay. So this is a posteriori. This theory of synthetic a posteriori has been given by the empiricist school of philosophers, which were Locke, Berkeley and Hume. Is it clear? So ये जो school of philosophers होते हैं, they are talking about, like when Locke is saying that we are born with tabula rasa, there is no innate knowledge. In fact, where is the knowledge coming? Via experience. जैसे जीभ स्वाद लेती है, हवा से कानों को ठंड लगती है, right? That's the kind of sense experience, and from there you are getting the knowledge. But what Hume has done specifically over here, he has started being skeptic about lots of things. He is skeptic about the conception of self. He is skeptic about the concept of God, right? And here he is also skeptic about the cause and effect relationship, which again Kant will say that these cause and effect relationships are the development of the mind. The mind actively processes them. The mind is the active participator here. Therefore, he gives this Kant-Copernicus revolution over here, right? We will see this in detail. So what Kant does over here, Kant, the solution to Hume's skepticism he gives here is that there are various judgments which are synthetic and which are a priori. Is it clear? Now let's see what are these a priori judgment. But before that, again I'll get back to the question. As Hume was skeptic about causality, Kant पहले ये बोलता है कि there are two forms of sensibility, right? Which is space and which is time. Information वहां से छन के हमारे नीचे वाले परत में आती हैं, दैट इज द 12 कैटेगरीज ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग, एंड कॉजालिटी इज वन ऑफ दोज 12 categories of understanding, right, which is again of human intellect over here. Is it clear? Now let's see what does Kant means by synthetic a priori judgments over here. Okay, we have seen here Kant says he has divided this synthetic a priori judgment for understanding further into few sets of example. For example, if I take here of arithmetic, मैं अगर बात करती हूँ that 7 plus 5 is equal to 12, ठीक है, 12 में न्यूनेस है, 12 सात में नहीं है, 5 में नहीं है. There is a concept of new thing. There is a concept. It is not. The predicate is not contained in the subject. ये हमारी प्रीरिक्विजिट थी सिंथेटिक की, अभी जो इससे पहले पढ़ा था. But this is universally contained. 7 plus 5 is always going to be 12, right? 7 plus 5 cannot be 13 over here, right? So Hume has accepted in his relation of idea कि मैथ्स के लिए उन्होंने कभी संदेह नहीं किया है. So this part is out of question over here. So it is a priori and it is necessarily true. This is one of the example I'm giving you of synthetic a priori judgments over here. ठीक है. Second part of synthetic a priori which Kant has given is about the geometry and space. Okay. What does Kant talks about here? He says that a straight line is the shortest distance between the 2 points over here. A straight line is shortest distance between the 2 points. Acha. So this is universally true. Is it true? Yes, this is universally true. Shortest distance between any 2 points in the space you will see, or in geometry, that's going to be the straight line. Okay, again, this is true. Again, what do we see? But here, what is the newness over here? That the idea of shortest is not contained in the straight line. The predicate is not contained in the subject. So there is a concept of new thing here, right? So therefore, it can become synthetic also. इसके लिए भी इसके बाद कांट थर्ड एग्जाम्पल देते हैं. लेट्स सी विच इज द टॉपिक ऑफ टुडे, causality, right? So for causality we have just seen that Hume has said कि causality आपकी एक आदत होती है, that's a habit, कि मैं जो रोटी आज खा रही हूं मुझे वो न्यूट्रिशन दे रही है, वो रोटी मुझे कल भी न्यूट्रिशन देगी. बट ह्यूम कहता है ये हमारे रिपीटेड इंप्रेशंस हैं. ह्यूम ने बात की है आइडियाज और इंप्रेशन की. रिपीटेड impressions, mere generalizations, mere customs and mere habits that we have come to this conclusion. Instead, he says that there is no necessary conjunction in causality. But इसको कांत कैसे काउंटर करते हैं? This is your answer, major answer for the question. How is Kant answering him over here? Kant is going to say that synthetic a priori, that causality is imposed by the mind. It is imposed by the mind innately. जैसे कि एक बॉल नीचे रोल हो रही है, right? So immediately my mind goes to this question. There must be some mover who has moved the ball. That comes immediately to my mind. I am not seeing that person by sense experience. Is it clear? So our minds, they cannot even conceive of uncaused event. So what Kant has done, Kant has put causality into the 12 categories of understanding over here, right? So what Hume says that causality is psychological habit. No, Kant says instead Instead, what is causality? Every event has a cause. What does it mean? It means that if a ball is rolling down the mountain hill, there must be somebody who must have pushed the ball. Is it clear? So this is how Kant is going to counter Hume. For this, again, I will discuss 12, take you into a little detail of what Kant says here. Kant, in his transcendental idealism, okay, he mentions of two specific words over here. The first one, which he says, is phenomena, okay. The another one, which he says here, is noumena. So causality is a category under phenomena. Causality is not under phenomena. So phenomena का मतलब ये होता है something which is here, something which is empirical, right, over here. And what is the meaning of noumena? Something which I can never know, something that is transcendental. And phenomenal is empirical. So what Kant has done, Kant has said whenever some kind of information comes to our mind, okay, first it goes through the two categories of space and not categories, two sensibilities, two forms, two sensibilities of the space and time. From there, the information goes through the 12 categories of understanding, right? And what Kant is saying, I will counter the Hume's skepticism of causality, that it is not a habit, rather it's a necessary conjunction. So in 12 categories of understanding, Kant has put causation over here कि अगर मैंने बॉल पुश की है, so there must be someone who is moving the ball. अब ये causation जो होता है, I will take you into a little detail here, this cause effect phenomena. If you compare to Indian philosophy over here, तो आप Buddhism में, when you see the term pratyut samutpad or the causal world, okay, this is comparison to that there is for every cause, for every effect, there is a cause, right? So cause and effect theories. So this is what's in our mind. So in his transcendental idealism, Kant has mentioned causation as one of the 12 categories of understanding, which is again what? A priori. This is a priori. This is before the experience. अनुभव के beyond है ये चीज, right? This is how he is countering the Hume over here. But in his transcendental idealism, Kant also says in the nominal world, everything is transcendently ideal. Means this part has no significance in the nominal world. This is just for the explanation, right? So coming back to our topic, where I was talking causality, in terms of this synthetic a priori judgment, Kant has now given a new term which is known as Kant's Copernicus revolution. Now what is this? देखो, जैसे बहुत साल पहले ऐसा बोला गया था, बिफोर कॉपरनिकस एक आपके एस्ट्रोनॉमिस्ट थे, उन्होंने ये बताया था कि हमारे सौरमंडल में पृथ्वी बीच में नहीं है. What is at the center? The sun is at the center and everything revolves around the sun. It was entire earth-centric situation which had been followed those days. Similarly, on that analogy, what Kant has done, Kant has prevented us from the dogmatism of the rationalist and from the skepticism of empiricist, right? And here he has mentioned कि अगर मैं वो जार वहां पे देख रही हूं, अगर मैं इस एग्जाम्पल को इस तरह से समझाती हूं, तो इट इज नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ दैट ऑब्जेक्ट आई एम एबल टू सी दैट, माई माइंड एक्टिवली प्रोसेसेस इट. ऐसा नहीं है कि मेरा माइंड दूर में बैठा है एंड इट इज अ पैसिव स्पेक्टेटर, रादर माई माइंड इज एक्टिव participator, right? He reversed the whole situation over here. So what does Kant say over here? That mind is actively, or is the active participator over here rather than the passive recipient of anything over here. Therefore, causality, which is Hume's which is given by Hume skepticism over here, it is the mind, right? It is the mind which is an active participator over here. Is it clear? So these are the key words which you have to mention in your answer. Not everything, this is explanation. So the answer has to be how you are going to answer this question. First part, I'll just give a brief in 2 minutes over here. The question was, how does Kant respond to Hume's skepticism with regard to a priori judgments discussed? The first thing that you have seen over here is Hume's skepticism. So I'll repeat again, what is Hume's skepticism? Hume is skeptic about the matter of facts. He is skeptic about the self, right? He is not skeptic about the relation of ideas over here, right? So he is skeptic about causality. He says that causality is a psychological necessity. It's a habit. It's a custom. It's a mere generalization. जो खाना मैं आज खाऊंगी या sun rises in the east आज हो रहा है, it may or it may not rise in the east in future, in 1,000 years later, 1,000, 10,000 years. या एक पत्थर, if I throw a stone up in the air, the stone may go up or the stone may never come down, or stone may come down or may not come down. Two cases are there. Hume is not giving a concrete answer to this because he says everything depends on sense experience. I am not able to experience. Now I'm able to experience, but I'm not able to experience in later parts. So it's like a beep, 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 beep kind of situation. Today I'm experiencing, I don't know tomorrow, I don't know in future, right? So causality is a mere generalization and it's a psychological necessity. Question का part ये है, what is Hume's skepticism? So इसका आंसर कांट ने दिया है synthetic a priori judgment से. उसने बोला है कि causality one of the 12 categories of understanding है. Causality is one of the 12 categories of understanding over here. Right? 12 categories of understanding which are already present in the mind. For this, Kant has given Kant's Copernicus revolution, where he says that this mind here becomes the active participator of everything. So again, this is how Kant has reconciled the two schools of philosophers in the Western philosophy, जिसको बहुत साल पहले शंकराचार्य ने हमारे यहाँ पे ऑलरेडी सब्जेक्ट ऑब्जेक्ट डुअलिटी को एड्रेस बहुत पहले करके साक्षी करके एक नाम दिया था उन्होंने चेतना का, राइट? दिस इज व्हाट वेस्टर्न फिलोसफर्स आर डिबेटिंग अबाउट सब्जेक्ट, वन इज डिबेटिंग अबाउट द ऑब्जेक्ट ओवर हियर. इन द एंड Kant tries to reconcile them by a synthetic unity of apperception. Is it clear? So we'll wind up this question. The solution to this question will be given in the link. Okay, I will share it in the Telegram, so you all can subscribe it from there. Thank you.